Listen to me. The moment you open your eyes in the morning, you already won. Period. You're blessed. You got breath in your lungs. You got another shot. And that, my friend, is powerful. See, too many of us wake up thinking about problems, bills, pain, stress, things we don't have. But what if the first thing you did was give thanks? What if you said, thank you, God. Thank you for life. Thank you for another chance. You shift the atmosphere around you. Gratitude changes your mindset, and mindset changes your life. You don't need a mansion to be grateful. You don't need millions in the bank. You got life. That's the currency of champions. You woke up, that means your purpose woke up too. Start your day with gratitude and you'll stop making excuses. You'll stop feeling sorry for yourself. Because when you're thankful, you don't see obstacles, you see opportunity. You don't see the pain, you see the process. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, don't groan, don't roll over, sit up, smile, say thank you. That's the fuel, that's the power, that's the start of greatness. You think the alarm clock woke you up? Nah, let me tell you something. That alarm clock didn't do nothing but make a sound. What woke you up was grace. What woke you up was mercy. What woke you up was a purpose still unfulfilled. You got another chance today, and you didn't do anything to earn it. That's why when you wake up, you can't start the day like you're entitled to it. You got to start the day like it's a gift, because that's what it is, a gift. You could have not woken up. Somebody somewhere laid down last night thinking about the same dreams, the same business idea, the same goals, but they didn't wake up, and you did. So you're not here by accident. You're not here just to survive the day. You're here because something inside of you hasn't been finished yet. See, most people wake up mad. Most people wake up tired. They wake up stressed. They wake up scrolling through social media, checking for likes, reading messages, diving right into negativity. They don't realize the first few seconds of your day are sacred. That's the moment where you decide, am I going to live in complaint or am I going to live in gratitude? You choose right then. You set the tone. You create the atmosphere. So when you open your eyes, don't start with problems. Start with praise. Don't start thinking about what went wrong yesterday. Start thinking about what could go right today. You've been given a whole new 24 hours, and how you use it starts with how you see it. Let me ask you something. If someone handed you $86,400 every single morning, no strings attached, and said you got 24 hours to use this before it disappears, you'd be excited, right? You plan every dollar. You'd invest it. You'd spend it with purpose. You wouldn't waste it. Guess what? Every morning, you're given 86,400 seconds. And what do most people do with it? Complain, delay, doubt. Let that sink in. Time is your most valuable currency. And every day, you're gifted a fresh amount. So if you woke up this morning, that's proof your time isn't up. That's proof you still got more to give, more to build, more to become. Don't waste that. When you wake up, that's not the moment to hit snooze. That's the moment to sit up, put your feet on the ground and declare, let's go. Because you've been chosen to continue. There are people fighting for their lives in hospital beds right now who would give anything to be where you are, breathing free, moving without machines, walking without help. And you're just going to roll over and say, 5 more minutes? Nah, you got to rise with urgency. You got to rise with intention. The day is not promised, but you've been given it. What you do with it is your response to that blessing. I remember when I was homeless, waking up on concrete, no bed, no comfort, but I was still grateful. You know why? Because I still had a heartbeat. I still had breath. I still had dreams. And as long as I had that, I had a shot. Some of you got pillows and comforters and coffee and cars, and you still complain. You still say, I'm tired. You still say, I don't feel like it. But if you knew how many people didn't get to see this day, you'd never take another morning for granted. You wake up like a warrior. You wake up like somebody on a mission. You don't need a miracle to be thankful. You just need perspective. Gratitude doesn't come from what's around you. It comes from what's within you. And when you train yourself to see the gift and just waking up, your whole energy changes. You stop dragging through the day. You stop dreading the job. You stop waiting for the weekend, because now you understand that today is the miracle. Right now is the blessing. And when you get that, I mean, really get that, you start living with fire. You start walking in purpose. You start speaking different, thinking different, acting different. People ask me all the time, E.T., how do you stay motivated? I stay motivated because I remember I'm not promised tomorrow. I stay motivated because I've seen what it's like to lose people too soon. I stay motivated because I've stared at death and realized that life is not forever. And every day above ground is a gift I will not waste. So don't come to me talking about how hard life is until you first acknowledge how good it is to be alive. You want to change your life, change how you wake up. You want to build discipline, start with a grateful heart. You want to find purpose, look at the fact that you woke up today. There's no way God brought you this far just to leave you. There's no way you're still breathing for no reason. There's still work to do. There's still a dream to chase. There's still a legacy to build. But it starts right here. It starts right now. It starts the moment you open your eyes and say thank you. Because when you're grateful to be alive, you're dangerous. You're focused. You're unstoppable. So don't let this day slip by like it's just another Tuesday. Don't let routine steal the magic. Don't let your to-do list become a burden instead of a blessing. You've been trusted with today. That means you're still in the game. That means your name is still being called. That means the clock is still running and your story is still being written. And if you're still in the game, you better play like you mean it. You ever wonder why two people can go through the exact same situation and come out with two completely different attitudes? One person comes out broken, bitter, complaining. The other comes out stronger, sharper, focused. You think it's because life dealt them different cards? No. It's because one of them chose to look at their situation through the lens of gratitude while the other chose to see only what was missing, what was wrong. Let me tell you right now, your life doesn't change when your situation changes. Your life changes when your mindset changes. And there is no greater tool for changing your mindset than gratitude. See, when you're grateful, you don't walk around like the world owes you something. You walk around like every breath is a bonus. You start realizing that you're not entitled to anything, not the air you breathe, not the job you got, not the roof over your head. And when you realize that everything you do have becomes a reason to smile, not complain, you start carrying peace. You start walking with a lightness in your step. You ain't heavy anymore because you're not carrying the weight of comparison or regret or entitlement. You're just carrying thankfulness. The problem is too many of us let our circumstances dictate our state of mind. We say, if I get the job, I'll be happy. If I get the car, I'll be thankful. If I make it out, then I'll praise. But that's not how it works. That's not gratitude. That's conditional happiness. Real gratitude is independent of the outcome. Real gratitude says, even if I don't have it all, I'm thankful for what I do have. Real gratitude says, I don't need everything to be perfect to feel peace. And when you start thinking like that, you start creating power in your life. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. You take control of your energy. You take control of your emotions. You stop living like a thermometer reacting to the environment and start living like a thermostat, setting the temperature. People come to me talking about stress, about anxiety, about not being able to get focused. And one of the first things I ask is, what are you focusing on when you wake up? Because if the first thing on your mind is everything that's going wrong, then you're already starting in the red. You're already behind. You're feeding your mind poison before you've even had your breakfast. But when you start your day with gratitude, when the first thoughts in your head are thank you, when the first words out your mouth are I'm blessed to be alive, everything changes. Your mindset goes from panic to peace, from survival to strategy, from fear to faith. Gratitude is like flipping a switch in your brain. It doesn't mean your problems disappear. It means your perspective changes. And that's more powerful than anything. Some of y'all are living in miracles and calling them ordinary. You got running water, electricity, a bed, a phone, a job, and you treat it like it's not enough. But there was a time you prayed for the things you have now. There was a time you would have done anything to have this life. But now that you're here, you forgot. You forgot how far you've come. You forgot how hard the climb was. And that's what happens when you don't practice gratitude. You become blind to your own blessings. You become numb to the progress you've made. You become so focused on the destination, you stop enjoying the journey. Gratitude brings you back to the present. It anchors you. It humbles you. It reminds you that you didn't get here on your own. It reminds you that every door that opened, every break you caught, every challenge you overcame, none of it was guaranteed. Gratitude keeps you hungry because it tells you this is good, but there's more in me. It keeps you humble because it tells you I didn't do all of this by myself. It keeps you hopeful because it tells you if I made it this far, I can go further. Some of y'all been praying for change, but you're not preparing for change. You're asking for more, but you're not appreciating what you've got. And that's the thing, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, it don't bless entitlement. It blesses gratitude. If you're not thankful for the small, you ain't ready for the big. If you can't handle the struggle with a grateful heart, you ain't ready for the spotlight. Gratitude is a test. It's a mindset that says, I'll show up with the same energy, whether I've got 10 people supporting me or 10,000. I'll show up with the same drive, whether I'm at the bottom or the top. You ever notice how some of the happiest people don't have much? They're living in small homes, working long hours, raising families on a tight budget, and yet they walk around glowing. You know why? Because they see the blessing in what they do have. They're not distracted by what they lack. They focus on what they love. Meanwhile, you got people with everything, the money, the house, the fame, and they're miserable. Because gratitude has nothing to do with your stuff and everything to do with your spirit. If you want to transform your life, don't start with your bank account. Don't start with your job. Don't start with your body. Start with your mindset. And the fastest way to transform your mindset is to live in gratitude. Not just when things are good, but especially when things are hard. When the storm is hitting, that's when you need gratitude the most. That's when you need to say, this pain is teaching me, this pressure is making me better, this process is preparing me for something greater. Because gratitude doesn't deny the pain, it puts it in perspective. It says, even this is part of my purpose. So stop waiting for something big to happen before you feel thankful. Start with the breath in your lungs. Start with the strength in your legs. Start with the fact that you got another shot today. That's all you need. That's the beginning of a new mindset. That's the start of your next level. Gratitude rewires your brain, rewrites your story, and reignites your purpose. But you got to choose it every day, every morning, no matter what. Because when you choose gratitude, you don't just change how you think, you change how you live. You want to know what separates the people who fold from the people who finish? It's not talent. It's not money. It's not luck. It's gratitude. Yeah, you heard me. Gratitude. See, when life hits hard, and it will, when life knocks the wind out of you, when everything you plan falls apart, it's not your skills that'll keep you going. It's not your degree. It's not your followers. What's going to keep you standing is your heart, that inner strength, that emotional fire. And there's nothing that builds that kind of strength like a grateful spirit. Because when you're grateful, you're grounded. When the world starts shaking, you don't panic. You plant your feet. You say, I've been through worse and I made it. You say, it hurts, but I'm still here. You say, I may not like this moment, but I thank God I'm alive in it. That kind of gratitude, that raw, unfiltered appreciation for life, even when it ain't pretty, that's what gives you grit. That's what gives you staying power. That's what builds resilience. People think being strong means being cold. Like if you're tough, you don't feel anything. Nah. Real strength doesn't come from ignoring the pain. It comes from honoring the pain, but still choosing to rise. And gratitude helps you do that. Gratitude doesn't make you fake, it makes you focused. It doesn't tell you to ignore your problems, it teaches you to see through them, to see that there's still something left, still something good, still something worth fighting for. Some of you are in a battle right now, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and you feel like you're losing. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you stopped and thanked God for the little things? When was the last time you said, I may not be where I want to be, but I thank you I'm not where I used to be? Because that's where your strength starts. That's where the shift happens, when you stop magnifying your problems and start magnifying your perspective. I remember when I was down bad, no money, no home, sleeping in abandoned buildings, hungry, alone. But even then, I'd wake up and say thank you. Not because life was easy, it wasn't, but because I still had life, I still had breath, I still had purpose. And as long as I had that, I had hope. As long as I had that, I could fight. See, when you're ungrateful, everything feels heavier. The weight of life crushes you because you're focused on everything that's going wrong. But gratitude is a shield. Gratitude protects your mind from drowning in negativity. It reminds you there's still light even in the darkest place. You think strength is built in the gym? No, strength is built in the silence, in the struggle, in the solitude, in the moments when nobody sees you and you still choose to believe. You still choose to wake up, to show up, to push forward. Gratitude gives you that kind of quiet power. That power that doesn't scream, doesn't boast, but stands firm. That kind of strength that says, I've been tested, but I'm still standing. That's what gratitude does. It turns your scars into stories. It turns your trials into training. It turns your pain into purpose. Some of y'all keep falling apart because you keep focusing on what's missing. You keep waiting for the breakthrough before you give thanks. But that's backward. You don't wait for the storm to pass before you choose peace. You choose peace in the middle of the storm. That's what resilience is. That's what emotional strength is. Being able to feel the pressure, feel the fear, feel the doubt, and still move forward. Still believe. Still thank God anyway. You want to be unshakable? Learn to be thankful when nothing's going your way. Learn to give thanks when you lose, when you fail, when you cry. Learn to say, this hurts, but it's making me. Learn to say, this didn't go how I wanted, but maybe it's going exactly how I need it. Because that mindset, that posture, that's what makes you different. That's what makes you unstoppable. You ever notice how people who've been through the most often have the deepest peace? It's not because their life got easier. It's because they learned to be grateful for what remained. They stopped obsessing over what they lost and started cherishing what they still had. And that made them strong. That gave them clarity. That built a fire in them the world couldn't put out. You've been through too much to let one bad day break you. You survived too much to let one disappointment define you. But you got to remind yourself of that daily. You got to speak life into yourself. Every morning you got to look in the mirror and say, I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I've got another shot. Because when you say those words and you mean them, something shifts. Something unlocks. It's how warriors are born. Not in comfort, but in gratitude during chaos. Gratitude teaches you patience. Gratitude teaches you endurance. It teaches you to stop rushing the process and start respecting it. To see every setback as a setup. To trust that there's purpose in the pause. When you stop fighting your situation and start finding the lesson in it, you grow. You mature. You become somebody with depth, with wisdom, with power. That's the real prize. Not just getting through it, but becoming someone stronger because of it. I need you to understand, your circumstances don't define your spirit. Your struggle doesn't cancel your destiny, but your attitude determines everything. And if you wake up each day choosing gratitude, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when it hurts, you become unbreakable. You build a foundation that pressure can't crack, storms can't shake, and failure can't erase. So yeah, it's tough. Life's not fair, but you're tougher. You've got more in you. And if you want to rise, if you want to win, if you want to grow, don't just grind with your body, grind with your gratitude, because that's the fuel that'll take you further than motivation ever could. That's the strength that'll carry you through the fire and leave you standing tall on the other side. You got this. You didn't come this far just to stop here. Let me tell you something real. Gratitude ain't just about how you talk to yourself. It's also about how you treat other people. Some of y'all walking around with walls so high, nobody can climb in. You're wondering why you're feeling lonely, disconnected, angry. It's because you stopped showing appreciation. You stopped recognizing the people in your life who held you down, who showed up for you when you had nothing, who saw something in you when you didn't even see it in yourself. Gratitude is the bridge. It's what turns strangers into family. It's what turns mentors into lifelines. It's what takes ordinary moments and makes them sacred. Because the moment you start appreciating people, they feel it. The moment you start saying thank you, not just in words, but in energy, they lean in. Because in a world where everybody's competing, comparing, criticizing, gratitude cuts through the noise. It says, I see you. I value you. You matter. You ever had someone look you in the eye and just say, thank you for being in my life? You ever felt that? That kind of moment hits different. That kind of gratitude is rare because most people are too busy to slow down and say it, but not you. You not most people. You want to rise, you want to be different, then start living with that level of love, that level of honor, that level of respect, not just for what people do for you, but for who they are. Gratitude changes your relationships because it softens your heart. It kills ego. It silences pride. You can't be bitter and grateful at the same time. You can't be jealous and grateful at the same time. You can't be cold and grateful at the same time. When you're living in gratitude, you're in flow. You don't have time for petty arguments. You don't waste energy holding grudges. You don't need to win every debate. You just want peace. You just want to grow. You just want to love better and deeper. I've seen families fall apart because nobody wanted to say thank you, because everybody was too proud to acknowledge what the other person brought to the table. I've seen friendships die not from betrayal, but from neglect. You took them for granted. You assumed they'd always be there. You stopped saying, I appreciate you. You stopped checking in. You stopped noticing the small things. But gratitude is in the details. It's in the text message at 7 a.m. saying, hey, thinking of you. It's in the hug that lasts a second longer than usual. It's in the handwritten note. It's in the act of listening, really listening, without trying to fix, defend, or compare, just being there. That's what gratitude looks like. Some of y'all are looking for love, but you're pushing people away with your energy. You're walking around wounded, guarded, suspicious, and you wonder why nobody's connecting with you. You can't receive love if your heart is closed. You can't build relationships if everything feels like a transaction. You can't grow in community if you're living in a constant state of defense. Gratitude tears those walls down. Gratitude says, I don't need you to be perfect. I just need you to be real. Gratitude says, you don't owe me anything. I'm just thankful you're here. You want your marriage to thrive? Practice gratitude. You want to raise powerful kids? Teach them gratitude. You want to build a team that goes to war for you? Lead with gratitude. People don't remember what you bought them. They remember how you made them feel. They remember if you saw them. They remember if you believed in them. They remember if your presence brought peace or pressure. And it's not just about saying thank you once and calling it a day. Nah, it's a lifestyle. It's how you show up every single day. It's the way you speak to the barista at the coffee shop. It's how you tip the delivery guy. It's how you treat your coworkers when no one's watching. Gratitude is integrity. Gratitude is humility. Gratitude is legacy. Because here's the truth. We don't get through life alone. You didn't get where you are by yourself. Somebody helped you. Somebody taught you. Somebody forgave you. Somebody picked you up when you fell. Somebody gave you a shot when you didn't deserve one. Don't forget them. Don't wait until the funeral to say how much they meant to you. Tell them now. Love them now. Appreciate them now. Gratitude keeps relationships alive. It brings healing to places where pain used to live. It brings joy to places where judgment used to sit. I've seen it. I felt it. People who were broken, families that hadn't spoken in years, come back together because someone had the courage to say, I'm grateful for you. I'm sorry for the silence. I see your value, and I'm not going to take you for granted anymore. You want to leave a mark on this world? Don't just chase success, chase connection. Don't just collect contacts, build real bonds. Speak life into people. Remind them what they mean to you. Show up for them. And never, ever let your ambition get louder than your appreciation. I need you to understand gratitude is power. It's not soft. It's not passive. It's not weak. It's power, because it takes strength to love people well. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to say, I need you, or thank you, or you changed my life. But when you live that way, when you operate from that place, people notice. People trust you. People follow you because they know your love is real. And don't get it twisted. You ain't just blessing them. You're blessing yourself. Because when you walk in gratitude, your heart stays open. Your soul stays light. You attract goodness. You attract peace. And even when people leave, even when seasons shift, you walk away knowing you gave your best. You walk away full, not empty, because you love deeply, you live gratefully, and that's what this life is really about. Every single morning when you open your eyes, you got two choices. You can complain or you can be grateful. And I'm telling you right now, what you choose determines how your whole day unfolds. It ain't about what's happening around you. It's about what's happening inside you. See, gratitude ain't just a feel-good emotion. It's a force. It's power. And when you learn how to live in that power, when you train your brain to focus on the blessings instead of the burdens, everything in your life starts to shift. You weren't born to walk around bitter. You weren't built to be negative. You weren't created to spend your life stuck in stress, fear, and frustration. That's not your design. But if you let your mind go there long enough, if you keep feeding it negativity, it starts to believe that's normal. It becomes a pattern, a habit, a cycle. And before you know it, you're seeing problems where there ain't none. You're expecting pain before the day even begins. You're waking up already defeated. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can retrain your brain. You can rewrite the story. And it starts with gratitude. I'm talking about daily, intentional, real gratitude. Not just saying thank you out loud. I'm talking about feeling it in your spirit. Waking up and saying, I'm alive. I've got breath in my lungs. I've got another shot today. You don't need $1 million to feel that. You don't need a perfect life. You don't need all your goals accomplished. You just need a moment of awareness, a moment to realize that right here, right now, you're blessed. The brain is like a garden. What you plant is what you grow. If you wake up every day feeding it complaints, doubts, fears, guess what? That's all you're going to see. That's all you're going to attract. But if you wake up and plant gratitude, if you feed your mind with thoughts like, I'm thankful, I'm capable, I'm chosen, your brain begins to rewire itself. Scientifically, you start forming new neural pathways. You actually train your brain to look for the good, to focus on what's working instead of what's broken. You want joy? You want peace? You want energy that doesn't burn out by noon? Then you got to flip the switch. You've got to stop looking at what you lack and start looking at what you have. You've got to get to a place where you say, no matter what happens today, I'm going to find something to be thankful for. You got to choose to see the light, even if it's just a flicker. Because that flicker can ignite a fire if you hold on to it long enough. It's easy to be grateful when everything's going right, when the bank account's full, when the relationships are strong, when the opportunities are flowing. But the real transformation happens when you train your brain to be grateful even when it hurts, even when it's dark, even when you're not getting what you prayed for. Because that's when your brain says, oh, we're not just surviving, we're thriving. No matter the condition. That's how you build a bulletproof mindset. That's how you start living with power. Some of y'all been stuck in negativity for so long, you think that's just who you are. You say things like, I'm just a realist, or I don't want to get my hopes up. But that's fear talking. That's trauma talking. That's pain from the past holding your future hostage. And it's time to break that chain. It's time to say, I refuse to let yesterday's scar steal today's joy. Gratitude is how you reclaim that power. It's how you rise. You got to start small. Maybe you can't see the big picture yet. Maybe everything feels foggy. It's okay. Just start with one thing. One breath. One heartbeat. One moment. Say thank you. Mean it. Let it rise up in you. And then do it again tomorrow and the next day. And the day after that, until it becomes your new rhythm, until it becomes your new instinct. Because once you start rewiring your brain for gratitude, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You find strength where others feel stuck. You speak life into your situation instead of feeding it death. And people will look at you like, how are you smiling through this? And you'll say, because I see more than what's happening. I see what's possible. Gratitude gives you a vision most people don't have. It elevates your perspective. It doesn't ignore the pain. It just refuses to let pain be the whole story. Gratitude says, yeah, I've been through it, but I'm still here. Yeah, I've been hurt, but I'm not bitter. Yeah, it was hard, but it made me better. That's power. That's mindset. That's transformation. You want to level up? You want to walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere? Start living with a spirit of gratitude so strong it radiates from you. So real that people feel peace when you speak. So deep that even when you lose, you still feel like you're winning. Because you've learned to extract the blessing from every experience. That kind of attitude doesn't just change you. It changes everyone around you. It creates a ripple effect. It inspires, it uplifts, it heals. Gratitude isn't a soft skill. It's a survival skill. It's how you keep your mind intact when everything around you is chaotic. It's how you protect your peace in a noisy world. It's how you create clarity when confusion is trying to pull you under. And the best part is free. It doesn't cost a thing. You don't need permission. You don't need a title. You don't need perfect conditions. All you need is a decision. The decision to say, I will choose gratitude every single day, no matter what. Because when you choose gratitude, you're not just changing your mood, you're changing your mind. You're not just reacting, you're responding with intention. And over time, you become unshakable. You become unstoppable. You become a light in a dark world. You become the kind of person who doesn't just survive life. You lead it. You ever wake up and feel like the weight of the world is already on your chest? Like your mind starts racing before your feet even hit the floor. You're already thinking about bills, deadlines, problems, expectations, people counting on you. And before you even get out of bed, stress has already robbed you of your peace. You know what that is? That's not just life. That's unfiltered pressure. That's anxiety sneaking in, whispering lies before the sun even rises. But let me ask you something. When's the last time you paused and said thank you? I don't mean when everything was perfect. I don't mean when the check hit your account. I mean right there in the chaos. Right there when the storm was raging. When's the last time you looked at the mess and said, even in this, I'm grateful? Because I'm telling you right now, that's the game changer. That's the secret weapon. Gratitude. See, gratitude don't erase the pressure, but it changes how you carry it. It don't eliminate the storm, but it reminds you you've survived worse. Gratitude gives you perspective. It puts life back in balance. Because stress and anxiety thrive when you focus on everything that's wrong, everything that's missing, everything that could go wrong. It pulls your energy into fear. But gratitude pulls your energy into the present. Gratitude says, wait a minute, I'm still here. I've still got breath. I've still got purpose. Stress is a thief. It steals your focus. It hijacks your heart. Anxiety is loud, always trying to convince you that the worst is coming. But gratitude is louder if you let it speak. Gratitude says, I may not have control over everything, but I do have control over what I focus on. You can't worry and be grateful at the same time. Try it. You can't. When you start truly being thankful, not just saying it, but feeling it, your brain starts to calm down. Your heartbeat slows. Your spirit starts to find peace in the chaos. And don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about some surface level fake it till you make it stuff. I'm talking about real gratitude. The kind that reaches into your soul and reminds you who you are. The kind that says, even though I'm going through hell, I still see heaven in the small thing. That's the kind of mindset that keeps people from breaking. That's what keeps your head up when the weight gets heavy. Look, I know life's hard. I know there are days when you feel like you're drowning in the pressure. I've been there. Nights with no sleep, days with no direction, anxiety choking me while I smile in public, pretending like everything's fine. But you know what saved me? Not a check, not a promotion, not some magical solution. It was gratitude. It was waking up and saying, thank you, God, for another shot. It was looking at my pain and saying, you're not going to define me. It was finding one thing to be thankful for, and letting that be my anchor when everything else was spinning. Gratitude isn't about ignoring the struggle. It's about surviving it with your peace intact. It's about knowing that even in uncertainty, there are still constants, still blessings, still moments of grace. Gratitude reminds you that no matter how dark it gets, you still got light inside of you. You still got a purpose. You still got something to live for. And let me tell you something powerful. The brain responds to what you feed it. If you keep feeding it stress, doubt, worst case scenarios, it will believe that's reality. But if you feed it gratitude, if you start your day with thank you, if you train your mind to search for the good, your body starts to shift, your emotions start to realign. The anxiety loses its grip, the stress starts to back down, because now you've got power, you've got perspective, you've got peace. You ever wonder why some people go through absolute chaos and still smile, still serve, still show up with grace and fire? It ain't luck, it's mindset. It's because they've learned how to protect their energy. They've learned how to fight back with gratitude. They've trained their spirit to say, this may be hard, but it's not the end. This may be heavy, but it won't crush me. I've got too much to be thankful for. Anxiety tries to make you forget how far you've come. Stress tries to blind you to your blessings. But gratitude reminds you. Gratitude says you made it through every bad day before this one. You've got 100% survival rate so far. You've conquered storms before, and you'll do it again. That's why gratitude is essential, not optional. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's your protection against the pressure. You've got to build that routine into your life. First thing in the morning, before the world tells you what to worry about, you tell yourself what to be grateful for. Don't check your phone. Don't scroll through drama. Don't start the day on defense. Get still, breathe, say thank you. Out loud, write it down if you have to. Speak it over your life. I'm grateful for this breath. I'm grateful for this body. I'm grateful for the people who love me. I'm grateful for the strength I've got. Watch how everything starts to change. Because when you live in gratitude, stress doesn't own you anymore. You own your moment. You reclaim your power. You shift your focus. You stop living in fear and start living in faith. That's what keeps you grounded when life throws punches. That's what brings your peace back when everything feels like it's falling apart. So don't wait for the storm to pass to be grateful. Be grateful in the storm. That's when it counts the most. That's when it makes the biggest difference. That's when it becomes your fuel. Because the world is going to keep throwing chaos your way. But if you learn how to wake up with gratitude, speak gratitude, live gratitude, then no matter what comes your way, you're already ahead. You're already strong. You're already winning. Every single morning you wake up, you are given the greatest gift life has to offer, another chance, a new day, a fresh 24 hours. And the moment your eyes open, you have the power to decide what kind of energy you're going to walk in. See, most people, they wake up thinking about what they don't have. They wake up counting everything that's missing, everything that's lacking, everything that went wrong yesterday. And they wonder why they keep living a life that feels limited, that feels small, that feels stuck. But I'm here to tell you, when you wake up with gratitude in your heart, when you start your day with thankfulness instead of complaints, you unlock something most people will never understand. You unlock abundance. I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about the mindset of abundance. A life that overflows with peace, with purpose, with favor, with opportunity. Because when you move in gratitude, you start attracting things you didn't even ask for. Doors open, people show up, ideas flow. It's like the universe responds differently to someone who's already thankful for what they have. And let me be real. If you don't learn to appreciate the little you've got, you'll never be trusted with more. You want to multiply your blessings? Then stop waiting for the big stuff and start appreciating the small stuff. Too many people got it backward. They think they'll be grateful after they get the job, after they buy the house, after they hit 6 figures. But that's not how it works. The law of abundance starts with now, with what's in your hands today. You might be in a tiny room, sleeping on a mattress on the floor, working a job you hate. But if you can say thank you in that, if you can find something to celebrate there, you're already rich. Because your gratitude is telling the world, I'm ready for more. I respect the season I'm in. I see value in what I have. You got to understand something deep. Lack doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your mind. Poverty is not just about money. Poverty is about thinking there's never enough. Thinking you're never enough. Thinking life is against you. But gratitude breaks that mindset. Gratitude says, even if I don't have everything I want, I've got more than enough to be thankful for. Gratitude says, I'm already walking in abundance because I recognize the value of what I've got. Look around. You've got breath in your lungs. That's abundance. You've got a beating heart. That's abundance. You've got a mind that still dreams, a soul that still hopes. You've got people who love you, even if it's just one. You got a body that's still carrying you forward. That's not small. That's not something to overlook. That's wealth most people don't recognize until it's gone. And when you wake up and you recognize that, when you wake up and you recognize that, when you open your mouth and say thank you for all of it, life begins to multiply in your favor. There's power in appreciation. It's a magnet. It draws more to you. When you're ungrateful, it's like you're building walls around your blessing. But when you're thankful, you tear those walls down. You create room for increase. You create space for expansion. You show the universe or God or whatever you believe in that you're ready, not because you've got it all figured out, but because you respect what you've already been given. You ever notice how some people seem to get blessed over and over? It's not because they're lucky. It's not because they're better than you. It's because they've learned how to live in gratitude. They've made it a habit. They wake up thankful. They move through the day thankful. And because they're thankful, they walk in expectation. See, when you're grateful, you start expecting good things. Not because you think life owes you, but because you believe good things are possible. And that belief changes how you see, how you speak, and how you act. You don't have to be perfect to live in abundance. You just have to shift your perspective. You just have to stop cursing your circumstances and start blessing your opportunities. Even if life ain't what you hoped it would be right now, you've still got a choice. You can either focus on what's not working, or you can wake up every day and say, I'm grateful for what is working, and I'm believing for more. Let me break it down real for you. Gratitude makes you more creative. When you're not caught up in complaining, your mind is free to innovate. Gratitude makes you more courageous. When you're thankful, you stop fearing loss because you're already content. Gratitude makes you more generous. When you feel full, you're more willing to give. And all of that leads to more abundance. The people who live in overflow, they didn't wait for it. They built it with their mindset, with their habits, with their daily choice to be grateful. So the next time you feel like life is lacking, stop and ask yourself, what am I overlooking that I should be appreciating? Because sometimes the breakthrough you're praying for is locked inside the gratitude you refuse to give. Sometimes the very thing you're asking for is waiting on you to recognize what you already have. You think you need more, but maybe you just need to open your eyes. Maybe abundance is already here, but you're too distracted by what you don't have to see it. Gratitude doesn't just unlock abundance, it teaches you how to handle it. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you humble. It reminds you that every good thing is a gift and every challenge is a teacher. It makes you appreciate the process. And when you appreciate the process, you're no longer desperate, you're disciplined. And that's when the real abundance shows up. So you want to live in overflow? Start with this. When you wake up tomorrow, don't check your phone. Don't scroll. Don't stress. Just sit still for 60 seconds and say thank you. Not for what's coming, but for what is. Do it again the next day and the next until it becomes your lifestyle. Because gratitude, real, raw, consistent gratitude, that's the key. That's the secret. That's how you shift from living in fear of not enough to living in the overflow of more than enough.